We are officially live, and there's my little message to the spammers.
Yes, we need to tell them we don't like them.
La, la.
We are going to share out. You are here with Rebecca and Melanie and Jewel and me, Sarah. We shall see how things go. And we are looking at Juan's book. And then I don't know what that is. Oh, and then it's a pretty picture. Hopefully everybody's doing well today. We'll wait for people to come.
Yeah.
Come on, peoples.
Wakey, wakey.
Monday. Wakey, wakey, who's still up? Let's see if we get any peoples.
I don't think I've been on this side of the live before.
If you're here, say hello. You got to click on comments at the top, at the bottom. It'll say chat, and then click. It'll say private and comments. Click on comments.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Matt. Hey, you gorgeous. Oh, hi, Cookie. Hey, girls. I was looking for you girls and thinking, ah, thanks, Cookie. Been a little busy this past week. It was a doozy. We're just sharing out right now. So if you like us and you want to share with your friends, we'd be so happy. We have Jewel with us and Melanie and Rebecca and me.
Hi, everyone.
Well, I know Matt and Cookie are here. So if there's anybody else here, then go ahead and say hello.
Hi, Matt.
Rebecca's in the future. It's 3:30 in the afternoon on Friday. Just turned Friday about 30 minutes ago here. So TGIF.
Friday vibes. Woo-hoo.
Woohoo. I hate Fridays though, because Friday's like my Monday.
Oh,
That's when all my work starts.
love Friday.
Thanks, Cookie. We really appreciate it. We're going to talk a little bit about shadow work, but first we're going to see if any more people show up, and then we're going to do some readings. Matt says hello down under.
Hi. Matt, if you want, you can share the purple nymph for me if you like.
That would be helpful.
It would, because I can't get out of here, and if I do, it boots me off.
Same here. I have StreamYard dislikes me sometimes. So I just got to work with what we have.
Doesn't like playing fair.
No, it doesn't. And I feel like the energy shifts have something to do with it too, because it's even worse than usual.
Yeah. Bats in the belfry, hi, Matt.
So if you didn't know, there was a solar flare 3 days ago. So we should be, well, actually 4 days ago now because it's Friday. But so we're feeling the effects from that. But also there was a whole bunch of solar storms in addition to that solar flare. Caused a whole bunch of solar storms, which kind of messed with the energy a little bit and the polarities of the earth, and it kind of changed the way energy is flowing through the ley lines. It's causing a little bit of an issues for a bunch of people. So if you've been feeling out of whack or out of sorts, that might be it. Hi, Liana. And Annette's here too. We're just waiting to share out a few more places. I think Jewel and Melanie are sharing out because they're the cool kids that know how to do that. Me and Rebecca just know how to talk. I think we say enough for everybody.
Definitely.
And then probably some.
Yes, a lot of self-work, a lot of shadow work to talk about today. So that'll be really, really good.
And I decided that I am going to use I got a new deck the other day, and I really like it because it's round like this. Here it is. And this
Oh,
deck,
isn't that pretty? Looks like a snowflake.
Yeah, that's the back side of it. And
that's
then like
gorgeous.
It's got like all these different magical symbols on it, on the front of it.
Oh, I like it. Very good.
Oh, there's it's reversed.
Might take requests today. I might take requests of what people might want to use. I don't know if they want a book reading today, if they want some
Ooh.
cards, oracle, runes. Let's
That
see
would
what
be
they picked.
fun. That would be fun. I just got this deck. Like the first time I used it was yesterday, but it read really easy. It's Making Magic. That's the name of the deck, and it's an oracle deck. And I wanted a deck that had round cards, but I wasn't thinking about how easy it would be to shuffle because it is not easy to shuffle.
No, not at all.
So
But you'll
clearly,
find a way.
I didn't think this through. Soon as Melanie and Jewel are finished sharing out, we will go ahead and begin our discussion on shadow work.
Can I ask you something, please, Sarah Lynn?
Oh, sure. What you want to ask
Yes.
me?
A mutual friend of ours has shown me some of the apothecary that you send out, and I think it's lovely. So on Purple Nymph, when you have time, would you please put a link up for people to purchase things off you as such? Because I'd really appreciate
Oh, sure. I do have a website, but I don't even have my herbs and stuff listed there. I was just asked if I always keep herbs on hand because I use a lot of stuff. I do a lot of apothecary, like mixtures and stuff like that. I make a lot of teas and a lot of salves and balms and just a whole bunch of little tinctures and whatever. So
yeah,
everybody that lives in my immediate community comes to me for all of that sort of stuff. So I just keep it on hand so I can give it to my neighbors mostly.
I love it. But yes, it'd be really good because I'm interested too. So I'd love to have a look. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Sure. I will slide it up there on your page. It might be a day or two because,
I know you're busy, darling.
My weekends are my busy days. Most people have off on the weekends, but I have off in the week and work on those.
Cool.
It's always a good idea to keep herbs in hand, but you know what's even a better idea? To know the herbs that grow in your area that you can just use, because it's better to use them fresh. I was just telling Melanie today about the benefits of dandelion root. It is very good for any sort of liver health. The entire plant's good for liver health, but the root specifically is really, really good for liver health. So if you get the root, you clean it up, obviously, because it grows in the ground, but then you make it into a tea. It promotes liver health.
Thank you.
I was just talking about that.
I think I got it shared out to as many places as I can get it shared out.
You're welcome, Matt. Okay, Mel, how are you doing on sharing? Did you get it shared every place?
I just got a couple more spots, but if you want to go ahead and start, I had it.
Okay. We should talk about shadow work. Sometimes when we hear shadow work, we think of, oh my goodness, this is dark, scary stuff. It's really not the dark, scary stuff. It's really a sort of self-care and self-help for you. Shadow work is the parts of yourself that kind of get swept underneath the rug, kind of the parts you don't talk about, and you don't really tell other people about them because they're the parts of you, the aspects of yourself that maybe you're not 100% comfortable with. And when we deal with these and we work on these sort of self-care items, what we find is that we have more balance, we have less triggers, we project less, and we don't revert into some of the negative patterns that we've had in the past. So we want to kind of do things to foster these relationships with what we call in the psychology field, your shadow self. And all that is the parts that you're not 100% comfortable with. So maybe you experience some sort of trauma or a death, or maybe you get really fearful in certain situations. When you take the time to explore these, avenues when you take the time to really dive into why certain things trigger you and why you might be projecting certain thoughts or certain state of mind when somebody says something specific. You learn more about yourself, but you also learn to accept the aspects of yourself that maybe you didn't want to deal with in the past. Do you have anything you want to add to the self-help portion of that, Rebecca?
Yeah, I think what people have got to understand is that shadow work is anything and everything. So there's triggers from childhood trauma, and childhood trauma. We are so clever as kids that we can push that aside, block that out, put a door on it, lock it, and not deal with it because, as a child, everything we fractal it and we put it away and we will deal with it later. And this is where shadow work or self work, I like to call it, comes in, because we try to teach you how to heal yourself. So I, at being a psychologist, will sit down and talk to you about your problems, whatever that may be. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem. It's just a problem with you at this time. So sorting through it and talking about it with people is usually the best way that you can deal with it, because there's some things that you might not accept of yourself. An example I would say would be one of my childhood traumas was abandonment. So because my mother had abandoned me, those issues were pretty prevalent and have been for a long time. And I'm still dealing with certain issues when it comes to abandonment and those sorts of things. But I'm aware. And I think that's what shadow work and self-work is making you aware of the things that you have to heal, I think is the best word. And I think we are the best healers to heal ourselves, because I can give you all the advice in the world. And it's like I've said before, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. So we need to talk to people on a level that they will understand. And we need to give hypotheticals in a world that they would understand, because that's where the aha moments come for the individual to be able to heal themselves. So yeah, that's my take on self-work. And it usually does stem from childhood, a lot of it. But there are some things in adulthood where we get disappointed because of our expectations, and that's where we have to change our ideals about things. But yeah, I think sorry?
I was just gonna say I would agree with that. I think that the other component to that is understanding that a lot of times it takes more than just one crack at it.
Yes.
When you're visiting that, particularly when you haven't visited it in such a long time, it's raw, it's deep, it hurts. But the more you visit it, the easier it's going to get, but it's also worth it, because the more you revisit it, the more you are kind of, healing it. A lot of times it's not a one and done thing. It literally, it's a lifetime worth of work.
I think it's also wise to point out that it's not necessarily healing it. You're not necessarily taking it away or learning how to deal with it. What you're doing is you're accepting that it happened, and you're finding a way to move past that, to move to a better point where you are in your life currently. That may mean you're not projecting these emotions or feelings in certain situations on other people in your life, such as your partner, your children, your spouse, and you're not creating expectations because of something that happened in your life as a child. So when we confront our feelings and when we accept them, it doesn't necessarily fix the issue. It makes us aware, so that we're aware of what's happening in situations that may mimic or mock that. And that helps us to develop the tools that we need to have productive relationships, even when we may not have had productive relationships as children. As children grow, they learn everything from the adults around them, from communication to fears to just dealing with people on an everyday basis. Children learn to talk, to tie their shoes, to walk, to play simple games, and they learn them all from the role models that they have in their life. So if you have a role model that isn't setting a good example, this is where your shadow work would come in your adult life. You may have missed some points when you were growing up that you needed to learn. And when you go back and you re-examine these parts of yourself that you kind of locked away, you realize what's missing, and you can kind of go back and adjust your thinking, because we're rational as adults. When we're children, we don't have that rationality.
No, we don't. And I think that's where it comes into, you say being aware, but you can be aware of something and not necessarily know that it is affecting you. So this is where I say to you, you need people around you who are aware of when you change, when something changes within you, when you do something different. It's these beautiful people around you that will help you understand where the shadow or the self-work needs to be, because they notice something different, and be open to that, because our friends don't say things just to get a reaction out of you. If they're generally concerned, they're saying things because something's changed. And that's when you notice things. Things will change. Your disposition has changed. The way that you talk has changed. The way that you react has changed. So as Sarah was saying, if you're going to look at something that is dark deep within, you have to understand that bringing that to the forefront, you will get all the emotions that come with it, whether it'd be crying, whether it'd be angry, whether it'd be extremely sad, annoyed, guilt. There's all these factors. They say the 7 deadly sins, but you must really, really pay attention. They're only deadly to the core of us. If we don't understand them and we don't accept them, that they are part of the human condition. There is always going to be jealousy, but it's how you stem and deal with that within that moment. And that's why every moment counts. Now counts. And people are asking in the comments, like Lachelle says, but where do you start? Some people
That's what I would say.
can't, and they fall hard. Well, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with, do you do smoking because it's a trigger, because it was something that you did, that your dad did when he drank and it was calming him? Is there a reason why you drink? Is there a reason why you hoard the shoes? So there is always these underlying issues. Okay, behind every reaction, there's always an emotion. You never react without an emotion. Yeah, ever. There is always an emotion. An emotion will drive you to do anything in your life. And like she said, with projection, the projection is if you don't like something in someone, you need to look at yourself and understand why you don't like it. I don't like the fact that he said that, but why don't you? Where did it hit the chord? Where did it make you angry? Why did it make you sad? These are your triggers, so you need to go back and go, hang on a minute, why did I blow up about that? Why? Hang on a minute, let's get to the crux of it. And you have to dig deep, because you have to understand that the reason why you reacted was because it was something that is in yourself, that you've seen in that person that made you want to react. I'm sorry, that's how I see it.
I think what's nice about that, though, and I think that you explained it beautifully, is that eventually, with enough practice, you actually notice it before you react. So you can kind of,
that's right.
You can feel that emotion, and then you can kind of center yourself around it and move forward logically.
Yes. And that's exactly it. And it's like Shane said in here, like, it's baby steps, it's small steps. If you go to do something so big so soon, you will not achieve what you need to achieve within those baby steps, because in those baby steps are the aha moments for yourselves to heal. Now, when I mean healing the whole of the emotion, healing all of the event. And as Sarah said, you can go past this. It's because you recognize the emotions that are within that, and you heal that part of yourself to say, hang on, I now recognize it. I'm not going to let it trigger me. And like Jill just said, then you become so much aware of someone else's bullshit that you'll actually sit there and go, you know what, man, I've been there and I've done that, and congratulations, you're getting there, because you'll sort through that crap and you'll find out something that it rings true for you. It might not ring true for me. It might not ring true for someone else, but it rings true for you. And this is where the small steps help you to move forward with shadow or self-work. I truly believe anyway.
Yeah, I agree. But I did want to touch on Lachelle's question of where to start.
Yeah.
If you don't know where to start and you're thinking you need to do some shadow work and you're feeling out of sorts, look at your life at that moment and find where you have the conflict, find what's making things feel out of sort, and just focus on that. Really think about what is bugging you, what is causing you to feel that you have this desire or this need to do shadow work and explore these emotions. And when you look at that, you're going to see, oh, maybe I'm feeling this way because of that. So then you explore that option. And after you're done with that, if things feel okay, go about your life. But if you still feel like there's more, you need to focus again at the same point and say, well, why am I still feeling this way? And then when you get all of those feelings out of the way, and at the end of the day, you don't feel like that, then maybe it's time you can move on and not focus on shadow work at the forefront. But shadow work is something that needs to continuously be done because we learned so much in our formative years. And many of us have had traumas in our formative years, or even in our early adulthood or later adulthood. Many people out there have had issues that cause a lot of issues. I counsel a lot of people that have had abortions and been in abusive relationships and stuff like that. So they have all of that trauma that is with those relationships, and they've never dealt with it. So when it comes up and it surfaces in their life, they feel in a manner that they can't express. So once you give them the words to express it and help them work through it, they're able to see what was, and it isn't here and now. So they're able to gather those pieces, feel those emotions, and move forward.
I think that it's also important to recognize some people will try to push it. Some people will try to say, well, I have to do shadow work. No, you don't, because it literally is a lifelong process. So there is no specific time that you must, open yourself up to the potential of being available for if it arises, but you don't necessarily have to push it or beat yourself up because nothing's coming to you. It will eventually, because it always finds a way to resurface.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a self journey. Remember this, guys. It's a self journey. We have all these depressions in the world, and we have all these things that are the silent killers. But they're silent killers because we don't have enough resources for people to talk about them. And so we need more beyondblue.com. We need more people, and especially in men's health. I've said this to you before. The mind is a place that can take you to the deepest, darkest, but it can also give you the highest reaches. And it's giving you a place to be able to say, you know what, someone is like me. It might not be necessarily the same journey, but they understand and have this compassion for you to be able to talk about it and have a sympathize with you on that path that you are taking. It is such a personal journey. It's huge, but it will never end. It will go beyond the 3D death that we have here. You'll be forever growing. And that is the beauty of us growing older, is that wisdom is knowing that I know nothing, because I will learn something every day to be able to make sure that I evolve better as a self in this world of many.
Yes, that's our goal. Our goal is to be better than we were yesterday. That's the best way that I can explain it. If you can work through something today that you couldn't work through yesterday, then you're doing better than you were yesterday. The idea is to keep growing and to keep learning. And as we continuously process things and continuously do shadow work and just learn things in general, we're going to grow as people and as individuals. And when more and more people do it, we're going to grow as a society, as a nation, as a race.
Yeah.
Cookie has a question. Is it safe to work through it by ourselves? Resurfacing some issues brings back a lot of troubles mentally.
Well, again, that depends on the person. It is safe to work through it yourself as long as you feel you are adequately able to control your emotions and not have deep thoughts of self-harm or anything that would be contradictory to living a long, pleasant life. Sometimes people struggle with that. And at that point, it's always best to speak to a counselor or a therapist to help you process things, or even a spiritual counselor. But it is safe as long as you feel safe doing it.
Yeah, I'll add to that that you can, of course, everything's a personal journey, but I did mention before, that's why we have those beautiful friends around us that are honest with us. Remember, it's that circle that you need around you, because you can do things solo, and that's fine. But I've always said, it takes a village to raise a child. You're not in it on your own. Yes, you can do aspects on your own, but that's why you have a great network around you that will help you through these things, and make you see where you are slipping, or maybe you're not slipping. Maybe it's the encouragement that you need. And it's generally just talking to your girlfriends, talking to your friends. That can help way more than you understand, because it's a release. By talking, you're releasing. Well, that's for me. That's how I believe anyway. I talk a lot because it releases so much.
Yeah, you're right. And sometimes if you're having a conflict, I don't know, with maybe a specific friend or somebody in your life, and you talk about that to somebody else that isn't directly involved in the situation, even if they know both of you, they're going to come at it at a different perspective. So maybe they'll come at it and say, well, you know what? Maybe that's not what that person meant. Maybe they're thinking of it this way. And that gives you a different perspective. So maybe the conflict in your life isn't as bad as you thought it was. And you would have known if you didn't ask for another outside opinion.
I think it also has to do with, I guess, taking, fully embracing your accountability, and understanding, like what Rebecca was saying, as deep as it goes and as dark as it goes up too, and it gets bright. So when, like, you're dealing with it kind of on your own, and you've gathered all of those different opinions,
I think most of us have that aspect.
Like when you're in that stage and you are basically taking accountability, it's almost like a fear of the unknown, and being able to step past that, and knowing that just because you failed in the past doesn't mean that you're going to fail moving forward. A lot of people I know I've had issues in the past with, I don't want to try because I failed so many times. I don't want to fail again. But if you don't move forward with it, there's kind of a balance between what I was saying earlier with the if it doesn't come up, then it doesn't come up. But when it's there, you kind of got to deal with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I like Scott's response. Scott, I have an asshole friend. I love my asshole friend because they do. They tell me the truth, and they don't sugarcoat it, and they literally give it to me. And I love those type of friends because I know that they are true and they've got my back. It does, and they're not scared, of me being offended, because they just tell me to get over it. They'll laugh and stand over me and go, "Ha ha, you finished?" So yeah, I like those friends too.
That's hilarious that he made that comment, because he is our asshole friend. Yeah. He's a really close personal friend of mine and my husband's.
Yeah, keeping it real, man, because too many people want to sugarcoat stuff.
And remember, you're working on Saturday.
I can see you, Matt.
Cheese.
Hi, Penny.
Hi, Penny.
One thing I wanted, what was I going to say? Now I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Scott. I forgot what I was going to say. I should not forget what I'm going to say.
I just did.
Darn it. I wanted to say something when you guys were talking, but now I don't remember what it was. I should have wrote it down with my pen that I had right here and didn't bother to use. Yeah, Matt, we can see your posts. I didn't read most of your comments though yet. It can happen anytime. Be open to feelings and stepping outside of yourself and looking at yourself, reacting to the situation, and then say,
this is what I was going to talk about.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Now, when you get hypnotized, all right, they always tell you that you're looking at your body in that moment, but you're not really there, right? So that's what I believe shadow and self-work is too, okay? It's you looking at that event, but you're looking at outside of you being in that time. So you're in a different time, you're looking at the event, but you're not using the same emotions as if you were in the event. And that's why hypnosis and that sort of thing is really, really good, because you're looking at it from a third person perspective instead of being right in it on the first person perspective. And that's where a lot of people will do really well on shadow work or self work, because they can separate the emotion in the moment to understand the emotion now. And that's a huge one, I believe.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Self-hypnotization, and that kind of goes along with the theory of like rewiring your brain. You can use like I'm on the fence with the whole positive affirmation thing right now. I'm kind of re-exploring that, but um like rewiring your brain. That's exactly how I do it. That is exactly how I do it for myself. The stepping outside and then looking at it like it's an outsider's point of view. That's a really good way to put it.
It's hard. It's not the easiest thing to do either, because like I said, emotionally, we are emotional beings. That's how we function. We function on emotion. If we love something, we're if we're sad at something, we're and it's the empathy and the compassion, and it's almost a going through it with them. And that's why I say to you, you need to separate the emotion when you're looking for it in a third person, because if you're emotional looking at a third person, you've got some more work to do. You need to be able to separate that emotion to be able to go through it, and realize that it is an emotion that you needed at the time, but it's not an emotion you need now. And it's a process of elimination. I had someone when I worked. I mean, it took me 6 years being a counselor to be able to get this person to a happy place. 6 years. So it's not just oh, there you are, it's an easy fix. And they are still working on themselves, and I'm still in contact with them. So to me, that's beautiful. Even after 6 years of doing this on a really high level of being paid and everything through the government, on a level where we're not doing it through pay, she is still doing that and still asking it. And I'll always give advice because I just do that. But, isn't it wonderful to know that this person, after so much trauma, and I mean, it was pretty heavy trauma, to be able to come out the other end and still be able to self-heal and continue to do that in their older age. And I think that's wonderful. That to me says that if I did my job, it was just a kind ear. And I didn't put them on depressants, which is terrible. I'm sorry, I don't agree with depressants.
I think eventually when you do it that way, how we were talking about, it does take time. You do have to revisit it. It almost becomes like a silhouette. It's still there. It doesn't really
Yeah.
ever leave. Like if you lose somebody, it doesn't really ever leave, but it's a silhouette now. It's not directing your life, you're directing your life. Your emotion isn't directing you anymore, you are.
Yeah, because it'll change your life. It will literally, it's like anything. If someone dies, I don't expect you to go to the way it was before that person died. It's called the evolution of moving on forward after that person has died. You need to be
Yeah.
able to have that evolution, because you never will be the same, and nor should anyone expect you to be, because you've evolved. You've learned to grow with pain.
And that's true with a lot of different situations. A lot of situations we're in our life, we can't go back to how they were before we were in them. It's kind of like when you get married. You can't go back to being single after you're married and living with your spouse just because you don't want to live with your spouse for that moment because you don't have your own space. You have to kind of figure out how to make your own space and take the time that you need. It's kind of like that with any type of major event that happens in your life. You're not going to go back to how it was before that event. You have to move on from that point. There's no going back to yesterday.
That's right. And that's okay. Like, that's the evolution that you need to have happen, because we are
right.
not. It will never be the same again. And you need to learn to be able to grow with that and accept that and then move forward with that, because evolution goes both ways, whether it's a sad or a not so sad, whether it's guilt or not guilt. You're going to have to weigh these things up and understand that these are part of the baggage that make you who you are and how you respond to things now. I could be this bitter old bitch at my mother, but I've forgiven her. It's her problem now, not mine. I am such a good mum. I have risen above this. I have been able to learn so much from the abandonment that even now I can truly say I love my mum more than I ever had before, because I need that for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cookie says, I'm skeptical on hypnotherapy for emotional self-work. Would you girls recommend this? I think if you were going to a qualified hypnotherapist, it can have a lot of benefits. I mean, there are people that are better than others at doing this type of therapy, but I would definitely recommend doing a little bit of research and finding somebody that has at least good references. But it can be very beneficial, especially if you have not if you don't have a lot of recollection of the traumatic experience that you experience. A lot of times when we're children, we kind of block them out, so we don't really have an idea of we have a vague idea of what happened, but we don't actually know what happened. So hypnotherapy can help us to gain those details that we have forgotten, so that we can properly process through the trauma that we experienced, whether how big or how little it is, because everybody deals with trauma differently. If I have a trauma and it's very minuscule, maybe I just fought with my mom a lot. To me, that was traumatic. But somebody else, maybe their mother passed away at a very young age. Obviously, that one would seem more traumatic, but maybe that person dealt with it at the time and it didn't cause a whole lot of issues later in their life. Just depends on how we process things and what situations we're placed in, because everybody processes events and sequences at a different level, at a different way, a different manner. So it just depends on what you need. So hypnotherapy is good for some people, where some people don't need that hypnotherapy. They can recall and they can deal with these issues without it. But for some, it's very beneficial and necessary.
And then I think if you broaden the scope a little bit on that, you can also do past life regression. So there are other ways to go around it. If you start looking into that terminology, you might find that you branch out into something that you are more comfortable with. I think that having an issue with hypnotherapy it could stem from trust issues, which I have dealt with a lot, like even in the recent years. They're not always the easiest to do, but like if you're looking to do it on your own, I don't maybe look into trust issues. I'll just leave it at that.
I did want to touch on past lives since you brought it up. Just like we have issues and trauma from this life that we lead, we can have issues stemming from past lives. So if when you're doing shadow work, you're not finding a traumatic event that happened in this life, but you're having an issue with a specific area or a set of circumstances, that's where you might want to explore past lives. Because just like this life, we can carry trauma that happened from past events that happened in a life that preceded this one.
That's if the preceded life didn't deal with the trauma in that time.
Yes.
So remember, if that trauma hasn't been dealt with in the past life, yes, you'll have residual effect in this life, correct. It would also go on how many times you have been recycled and how many times you've been in a body, how many lives you've had, how many, so yeah, shadow work would be self-work on the 3D of what you know now. Anything else other than that, if you think, like Sarah said, it is something that is pressing and you don't understand it, I would then assume that it is something residual from a past life.
Yes, that was my point. Yay. Annette said, tried the hypnosis years ago. Psychiatrist brought me back out inside of 15 minutes, said it was too dangerous and that some things are better left buried. I don't know that I agree with that, because when you leave things buried, they're going to cause that residual that there's residual problems that keep coming up. If I went to a psychiatrist that said that, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I do have a master's degree in psychology, clinical psychology.
That's not what a psychiatrist should say.
I am a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. So if I went to a psychiatrist that said that, I would never go back, because it would indicate to me that particular person was not good at their job and did not know how to handle situations when they became too confrontational for him to deal with. There is never anything that is left buried. You are always better knowing what happened, even if it does stir up trauma. even if it does stir up feelings, because then you know where you stand and you can learn how to process those emotions and process those events.
Particularly if you had gone there and you were ready. I mean, when you bring it up like that, it usually means you're ready to deal with it. So if you're ready to deal with it, anybody that has the tools to help you should be assisting you in, whatever methods that they have.
Yes, but we've got to understand too, we've got to understand that the metaphysics and things of hypnosis and what's been understood between the 80s and 90s until now was way different. So I can imagine this being said to someone where it was a too hard basket, where they hadn't actually been in contact or trained for such an event, I suppose. But Annette, no, I have to agree with Sarah. I don't think anything should be buried. I think there are things that will stay dormant for a while until it is the universe decides that you're ready to open that box. But no, I don't think things should be buried. I think that's where the problem lied in having these in the 90s, where people would just say, oh, it's all right, just sweep it under the carpet, no one will know.
Yeah,
and that's where we get all these depression from. It's just no.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should sweep things under the rug. I believe in treating the mind, body, and the soul philosophy. So in order to have a healthy body, you need to put productive things into your body. In order to have a healthy soul, you need to do the energy work. You need to raise up your vibrations. You need to do whatever you are to help your soul grow and be nurtured. And to have a healthy mind, you need to get rid of any blocks that are there, including emotional blocks, including things that were buried. Because as long as you have them, you're going to have these blocks within your mind, and it's not going to be a healthy mind, because you're going to have chunks of it where you don't remember and where you don't know. And that is not a productive way of dealing with anything.
So Cookie is asking about PTSD. From my perspective, PTSD is mostly triggers. So it kind of goes back to how we were talking about, noticing what that trigger is, and being able to step outside of it so that you're not controlled by that emotion. When you do that, it often helps to kind of, like we were also talking about before with the rehearing. A lot of times that trigger is from a negative experience. So going through hypnosis, or mostly just hypnosis, because like they were saying, mostly 3D, you have to be able to go back through it and desensitize it. Basically, you have to be able to go through and make it to where it's not as intense when that trigger happens, because a lot of times those triggers, you can't really, you can try to avoid them, but they're eventually going to come up, and you want to be prepared to handle that the best way that you can.
Usually with PTSD, the most effective way of treating it is with gosh, I just had the word on the tip of my tongue and now I can't remember it. Is with crap. You were talking about it and I had it in my hand, and I had it in my head, and now I go to say it and I can't remember what it is. They deal with a lot of triggers. So what you want to do is you want to deal with coping mechanisms. That's the word I was looking for. So you find coping mechanisms that work to control the triggers that you have. For example, if somebody has a problem with really loud noises, to help them to not focus on the noise when they're out in public, they might take their hand like this and tap on their hand with their other one. That way they are focusing on how many taps they are doing rather than focusing on the noise in the background. Or somebody might,
as long as they're healthy coping mechanisms.
Yes.
That's
what I was going to add. You want to make sure that they're definitely comfortable, or you want to make sure that the coping mechanisms are healthy. You don't want anything that's negative. You don't want to be jumping out at people or doing anything that is self-destructive. But once you master them coping mechanisms and you put yourself in situations where you know they're high stress, where you know you're going to have to use these coping mechanisms, over time, they are less severe. Over time, you're able to use the coping mechanisms less and less. Coping mechanisms are just used as a crutch to get you from point A to point B. Once you get to point B, then you can work on removing those coping mechanisms or taking a step down. to where you use a coping mechanism that is less noticeable, less less of a distraction from your trigger. So that way, over time, your PTSD triggers are almost non-existent. You will always probably have some if you've had a traumatic event in your life like that, but they become manageable. And that's the goal of any type of session, is for your little tics, your little nuances, your little things that make you different from those next to you, is fitting in to the world around you, because nobody wants to be that outsider that is cast off to the circle because they're different. You want to kind of be with people, and to be with these people, to experience things as we do as humans, we need to kind of fit in society standards just a little bit. We can have our differences, but we need to emotionally be able to connect with them. And if you can't, due to triggers that you have, then you're not living a good human experience most of the time. Okay, now I gotta read Ali's comments because I can't read and talk at the same time.
PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Do you call it syndrome over there?
Yeah, we call it syndrome over here.
Okay. Something that is so stressful to the body. I mean, it's pretty much in there, isn't it? It says it to you. Something that was so stressful to the body and the mind that you couldn't comprehend it in that moment.
Yeah, it imprints in your mind and it's there for like ever.
That's the way
Yeah.
a lot of
So-
trauma works, whether it gives you the symptoms of PTSD or not. It imprints in there, and that's what I was saying about the whole rewiring. Like I said, I'm still on the fence about the whole affirmation things. They can work for some people, but at the same time, it's almost like you can say it as much as you want, but you have to live it. And it's, you
Yes,
know,
and living it is hard, Jewel, because we can have all the answers in the world for everybody, but it's never going to be personal enough for someone to actually say, well, yeah, that's exactly how it is, because
yeah,
it's never going to be that way, because my
right.
journey is completely different to yours, and it's completely different to the next person. And like Sarah said, a lot of your environment has got a lot to do with it. If you were growing up in a family that was so religious, and that, like if you drank a drink and God will, look down on you, you've got to understand that these people are programmed. And this is where Jewel is saying the program not only is what you would learn from your parents, it is your environment. It's what you see all around you and what all the adults are doing, and these imprint all on you. And so every single one is different. I do not have the answer for all of you. I only have the answer for me. But what I can do is give you the tools that I used to be able to maybe help you get more tools to be able to help you on your journey. And that's what we're here for.
Yes, that is what we're here for. I did want to touch on the affirmations a little bit that Jewel was talking about. Affirmations can be very helpful to many people if you believe what you're saying. For example, if you wake up every morning and you say today is going to be a better day than yesterday, and you truly believe that, you're going to set your mind up to look for the good things in that day. And if you wake up in the day and you say, you know what, today's going to be a crappy day because it looks like it's going to rain, then that entire day you're just going to look for things to be crappy. That's why affirmations can be effective for many people, because they set your mindset for that time and that day.
Absolutely. And
And eventually,
Sorry?
With repeating them, it would become. The thing is that I think sometimes some people look at it as like a mirror. They just, listen to things that are repeating in the background while you sleep, they're magically going to transform. But I feel as though it takes a little bit more effort than that. I think that
you have to believe what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to truly believe it.
Eventually, you're going to live it. But I have seen where sometimes, people think that affirmations are going to help, and they don't help as much as they would like them to, I guess. And then, it causes problems for them where they get frustrated. And I don't not believe in affirmations. I'm just saying, kind of use a balance with them. I think that affirmations are kind of like you were explaining earlier with the crutches, the PTSD.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
Okay, but I believe affirmations, you can program with affirmations. So if you wake up every day for
I
2
agree.
weeks saying it's going to be a great day, you are programming yourself to have a great day regardless of how you wake up.
And
And
thinking of
this,
that day.
yeah, that's right. But again, your environment. If you're waking up and you're absolutely brilliant, and yet someone knocks on your door and said, you know what, can you move your bloody car off my lawn? It changes the dynamic. So affirmations are good to program yourself, but it's again what Sarah says, you have to believe in what you're saying, because after 2 weeks you can wake up and say I'm going to have a great day, and you will have a great day. How do you define a great day? It's totally up to you.
Yes.
Okay, a great day could be a dog shitting on your shoe for some people, and others it could be terrible. So it's all up to the individual. So I agree. Some people affirmations will not work. No, because they rely on it so much that when it doesn't happen on the day, they blame the affirmation. No, it's a reprogramming.
And what people have to realize is that a lot of the things in our life are just the way that we're thinking at them at that moment. For example, if you get up in the morning, you put your feet on the floor, you realize I'm late for work. Your day is awful because you're late for work, you're rushing around. And if you took a little bit differently, you said, you know what, I'm late for work, but I haven't been late for work in 3 months. So you call your boss and you say, hey, boss, I'm really sorry. I woke up a little late. I'm running late for work. I try not to do it again. I haven't been late in 3 months. And you stop at the bakery on your way there and you bring your boss a coffee and a donut. Your boss is going to be in a better mood. You're going to have something to eat. And you haven't been late in 3 months, but you were today, but that's okay because you brought in a donut. It's just little things that we can do to change the way the dynamics of our day go. And if we put these affirmations into effect and we change our way of thinking, we look at the negative as a positive instead of just looking for all of the negatives.
I would agree with
Exactly.
that. That goes with like the
Yeah.
law of attraction. You know, like if you're thinking positive things, then you're going to attract positive things. Yeah.
Of course. Of course, it's all vibration. If you're going to, I've told you this before, you reap what you sow. If you're thinking in the negative, you're going to get it. Booyah, and you deserve that. If you're thinking in the positive, you're going to get it, and you deserve that. So, it's all up to you. I cannot be here and hold your hand for everything. You need to learn to hold your own hand.
So that's probably where my issue is, I think. Like a lot of people will use the affirmation, but like you guys have been saying, if you don't believe it and you don't actually want to have a better life and you keep self-sabotaging yourself
Yeah.
with
You have
negative
to do the
thoughts.
work. You have to do the work. You have to want to have that good day, and then you have to look for that good day. You're not going to magically have a good day just because I said, oh, it's going to be a good day. Well, if I'm looking at only the negative things that are happening in that day, of course it's not going to be a good day because I stepped in dog poop, I woke up late. But if you're looking to make that into a positive, then you're going to have a good day. And you have to do that type of work. It's like Rebecca said, it's kind of reprogramming your mind to think of things in a different light. So when we reprogram our mind, we're thinking a little differently. We have to follow that through the rest of the day, not just when we're saying the affirmation. And that's sometimes what people forget about.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're still using the affirmation and you haven't really seen much change, then there's probably something that you're missing. I think that's my point, is what I was trying to say. There's probably something that you're missing that you should have included with your practice of using those affirmations, because
Yeah.
like if you're not seeing any change, you just switch things up.
Exactly.
Well,
Matt wanted us to read his post out loud. It says, please read this post out loud. Sunset and loved ones and sunset, a loved one's voice, gratitude, rises vibrations, people hello. Gratitude and love isn't just affirmation, it's physics. You're raising the magnetic field around the heart.
Yes. Have to agree. You're raising your vibration, but not only are you doing it on a 3D, you're doing it in a unconscious and a conscious at the same time. And this is where we don't learn this in school. They don't teach you about your consciousness. They don't tell you about your kundalini. They don't tell you about your chakras. They don't tell you about vibration. They don't tell you about, these are the things you have to teach yourself. This is not something that the Western world wants you to know. And this is something you have to find out for yourself and enjoy doing it, because you know what? Half of all this is the adventure and the discovery, is it not, people? Life is so complicated as it is now. Go and discover something new. Do something for yourself, regardless of what that may be. It's an adventure. Life's a high, get off on life.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
I did something for me this weekend. I went to the circus. I went to a paranormal circus, and it was fun.
say that again.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said I did something for myself this weekend. I went to a paranormal circus, and it was fun.
Oh, sorry. I meant Rebecca. Life is high, get off. What was that?
Life is high, get off on life. Look, I'm wearing my crown, bitches.
Oh, I'm not looking at the camera. Let me see. Oh, I'm not wearing my crown. I have mine's back on the thing behind me, but yours is so
it's crooked, just like my mind.
Oh, I like it crooked. Put it back crooked. I like it that way.
It crooked.
I like it on the side, on the crooked. Yep, that's good.
Ooh,
I like
but yeah, guys, listen. We're all here to, if there's anything that we're going to be doing, I think most of these groups have been doing, is that we're going to make sure that we're going to have the 1-800 numbers, lifeline, suicide. We're going to do all these things, and we're going to put them up on our groups. I've been meaning to do it on Purple Knit, but we're going to give you places where you can go if you don't necessarily want to talk to anybody that that's close to you. So at least then you have these at your disposal if you need it, especially if a lot of people want to do these things in private. They don't necessarily want the family to know. They don't necessarily want people on Facebook to know. So I think that by making an album where you can just go in and find all the resources, I'm going to find the international ones. I'll find the ones in America. I'll find the ones in the UK. I'll try and put as much as I can down so that the resource is there for anybody to look, so that at least you have a plethora of knowledge to go through and you can do it on your own and choose. And from there, if you want to contact any of us or about anything, we are here. We are just a PM away. It might take us a little bit because we've got families, but we'll get to you. Don't you worry about it.
Yes, that is true. We will. Cookie says, can I ask, why do I pick up other vibrations, as in sadness and having toxic? If you're picking them up off other people, you might be empathic, which means you feel the emotions of those around you.
And which just means, darling, is that you have to discern what's yours and what's someone else's. And if you know what yours is, then you can dispel what someone else's is, because this is what can make it very heavy for you. The energy around you, because you are empathic already, you are going to feel heavy because everybody else's energy is on top of you. Pretty sure, talk to Sarah, Mel, even Jewel, myself.
Yep.
If you need anything to protect yourself, or you need a crystal or something that will help you block out other people's emotions, there's plenty of people here that can help you.
Or just learning how to shield off that emotion. A lot of times when we're in close proximity with people, we pick up on their emotions that are around us, and we necessarily might not want them there because maybe they're in a low place and we don't want to just deal with that right now. I mean, sometimes it's beneficial, because if you are in if you do want to help them, it's easier to help them when you know how they're feeling. But if you're not there and you don't want to do that, you can shield yourself from that type of energy as well. And we would definitely be able to help you with that. Hi, Mary.
I think that's the good thing about shadow work, though, too, is when you work on your own and you get better at stepping outside of your own emotions, it's easier to determine what's yours and what's not.
Definitely. I mean, that's part of the hardest thing in the world at the moment, is because we're so full of empathic people that it's differentiating between what is yours and what is someone else's. I mean, walk into a hospital as an empath, it's bloody terrible. I can tell you, it is so heavy. I just wanted to fix everyone when my husband was in there. I'd walk into the hospital, I'd be like, okay, I can feel the pain. Oh my God, okay. So I literally, before I had to go into the hospital, I had to teach myself, right, Rebecca, they're in the hospital. They're in a good place. That's why they're here. Hello. You don't need to take those emotions on. And it was really hard. It took me a good 4 goes to try and get it. but
No.
I ended up taking some clear quartz, rose quartz, and a obsidian because they were just really grounding for me. So every time
I like obsidian too, but if you're out and about and you don't have any stones, acorns repel anything negative. So if you stick an acorn in your pocket, it'll probably break eventually, but it will repel all of that negative emotion, all of that negative energy to a pretty decent extent.
Yeah.
Penny
So
said
even
she
experienced
has a
seasoned
stone.
people like me still have to shield themselves. Like I had to shield myself in the hospital because I didn't think that I would, oh, I've got this. Yep, I've got this. I'm walking in here. I want to walk back out. Oh my God.
Cookie, we did an episode on shielding a couple months back. If you go back and check the old videos, it's called shielding. So you might want to go back and read it, or not read it, watch it. We talked a whole lot about shielding and different methods in shielding, but I mean, we can certainly do another broadcast on it.
Yeah.
Just not, it's too in depth to talk about tonight, but we did already do one. If you want to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. And there's all different ways. No one way is correct. You might have, I do bubbles. Mine are bubbles. People do different things. I make bubbles. Ask the girls, I send bubbles all the time.
I think one of the biggest first steps for me when I was learning that I felt like I had to. I felt regretful that I was, no, I shouldn't shield. I should have to feel it. I'll learn something from it. It might sound silly, but it was difficult for me to understand that my energy is my energy, and I have to protect it. It's very important because if you're constantly giving out your energy or allowing others to hold yours down, then there's not much. As an empathic person, a lot of times we want to help. So like if that's something that you're dealing with, just make sure that you value yourself enough to look into any type of method that will work for you, because you really do need to protect your energy.
Oh my God, I just read Andrea's comment.
I'd love nuts in my pocket. I mean, yeah, see, I think also it's a comfortability within yourself to be able to know your own energy, because if people don't know their own energy, it takes a little bit to recognize what is yours and what is someone else's.
Yes, it very much does. Matt says, beware of energy vampires. I really don't like that term, because there are many people that do call themselves vampires and are vampires, and some of them are energy vampires, and they don't purposely take energy from people. They need energy to sustain themselves and to live a productive life. They just don't know the proper way to take it without harming others. So I prefer to help those people personally.
Yeah, but they always say, if your cup is half full, then don't be helping. You've got to be able to replenish your cup if you're going to exchange energy. And I agree with Sarah. Energy vampires, if they do it right, there's an equal energy exchange, because they need your energy to survive, but they also give back. But I do know of energy leeches, and they are the people that constantly leech off you and give you nothing back, and that's why you feel drained.
And that's what I was going to say. Those that I was actually going to call them leeches, just like you did, because it's not a term that anybody in the spiritual community uses, but vampire is a term that many use, and they would be horribly offended by that. So I just wanted to point that out. They literally steal it, and again, Matt, those are would be energy leeches. Energy vampires they prefer the term side.
They usually do an exchange. Yeah, it's usually an exchange with an energy vampire.
But a lot of times when they are new to
they don't know
vampirism, they don't realize they're doing it. I help a lot of people in the community with this specific thing, because they're taking energy, and sometimes they can feel that they're taking it, but they can't stop it, and they don't know how to take it in an effective manner. So what I do is I teach them how to scan a person's energy. and find those things that are not doing the person well, those bad feelings from a traumatic event, those negative emotions. And that's what I teach them to take. That way they're taking something that is not positive to that person, leaving behind everything good, and they're still getting the energy they need, because at its essence, energy is energy. It is only negative because that person has a negative emotion towards that
Yep.
event or that energy. So when you
I
teach them how to exchange energy in a proper manner that is beneficial to both the person receiving and the person taking the energy, then everybody leaves happy.
Okay, so my
Yeah.
question for that is, if the energy vampire takes what the person that they are taking energy from perceives as negative, does it take away the ability for them to learn from that lesson?
No, because they still have their experiences. The only energy it takes is the energy that's right there, right now. So if you're having a bad day because these thoughts brought up, they would take that negative energy away from you. So you might not have as bad of a day.
And don't
Does that
forget,
make
they're
sense?
only going to take the negative energy that they see.
Yes,
Okay,
that you're
that's
projecting.
teaching them to read them. They're only going to take the negative energy that they see, that
That's
you are
projected.
willing
Yeah,
to
that makes sense.
exchange, that you're willing to exchange.
Yes, because they don't scan super deep. So it's not like they're reading you in
That's right.
depth. Very similar to like
Yeah.
what an aura reading would be doing, just very, very surface.
Yeah.
Because they don't need
I
to go deep to get that energy. They just need
know.
something that's right there on the top. But a lot of times we're out places, we're at the mall, we're at church, we're at a playground. Everybody's happy there. So they're not looking for the negative energy in the room. They're looking for the energy in the room, or they're subconsciously taking the energy in the room. When you teach them specifically to look for that negative, there's always somebody there that's having a bad day. There's always somebody that has that negative energy. When you teach them to go after only those people that have the negative around them, then you are teaching them to be beneficial to the community at a whole, and still get their needs that they need met. So
So
it's
then I would
beneficial
assume
to
that you come
everyone.
across a lot of people who will actually find it and then provoke it so that they give out more of it. Do you ever
What
come
was
across any?
what was the first part you cut out?
I'm wondering if you've come across anybody who is inexperienced with this, and rather than just taking the excess, they notice it, they hone in on it, and then they kind of provoke it to get them to bring it out more, which would
Oh, I've met one. Oh, I've met a
I've met
few.
people with that. I mean, you're always in any walk of life. You're always going to have people that are just assholes that just do
Yeah,
things
they
just just for the sake of doing them. And that's what I like to call people that do things like that, because really there's no need to provoke it. If everybody is getting what they need, and everybody is getting what they want and they need, there is no way at all, there is no reason to provoke those types of reaction. There's no need to go down that road. If you get what you need, you don't need more. It's kind of like when you eat a piece of cake, you just take your one slice of cake, but you always have those people that are going to try to eat the entire cake because they just want it, and that is taking too much, in my opinion. So people that I work with, I try very hard to teach them not to take more than they need.
Yeah, I've met a few energy leeches, and I can tell you right now, it is not a very good experience. You will be left flattened. You will be left. You will almost feel sick because they do it on purpose. These are the I.
Oh my
They do it
God.
on purpose, and I tell you what, I've literally been left on the floor thinking, "Oh my God, I so deserve that." When it wasn't that at all. It's just that they needed the energy to even exist because they're so low vibration that they have to suck on what I have got because I'm so high. And so when
Yeah.
they do deplete all of that and I don't realize that it's happened, it can floor me. It takes me a few days to go, hang on a minute, how did that exchange even happen? So it happens even to the most seasonal.
No, Cookie, you don't have to be willing to exchange because unfortunately people can come into your space just like you can with them. If you shield yourself, it's much more likely that they won't be able to come in your space. That's why I highly recommend shielding yourself. So we did do a couple of videos on this. Maybe we should do another one. But and you would know because you would feel very, very drained when you were around these people that were emotionally
Tired.
yes, very like you couldn't deal with them, like exhausted,
Yeah.
like you've done a whole bunch and you didn't do anything. Andrea said she just noticed Melanie's name is Universal Asshole. Um, Cookie, to answer your questions, energy vampires can just take the energy that you project out to the world. Most of them can't go deep inside your head or take energy that you're not outwardly projecting. So if you're in a happy place, they can take happy energy. If you're in a good mood, they can see that good mood. If you're in a negative mood, they can see that, they can take that energy. And if they take your good mood energy, then you're going to feel not so good. That's what we were talking about. You'll feel like you're drained. And if they take your negative energy, it's going to more feel like you have like a little bit of a burden lifted off your back. They don't need your permission, so to say, to take this because you have it out in the open. You're not hiding this emotion. You're not blocking it from others to see.
True. Yes. And again, the exchange.
She asked
Sorry?
if they can do that when you sleep. And yes, they can do that when you sleep if they're in close proximity.
Okay, so here's my question. All right, so you're saying that it's excessive energy, right? So even if it is a positive emotion, right, it's something that's already been projected. So how does that really affect somebody if it's already out in the open?
Because you're experiencing it. If you're in that happy place and you're experiencing it and they're taking that energy, you're going to feel like you're drained because they're taking that happiness, that energy, they're following it back.
Yeah.
They're following it back. Yes, you are projecting it, which is why they can see it so prevalently, but that's what they're going to leech onto. That's what they're going to pull, and that's what they're going to take. Now, if it's with the negative, they still do it the same mannerism, but you're going to feel a little better when they're done because they're taking that negative, which takes the negative away and leaves you with the positive.
Well, see, and I often get a boost. After that when they've come in and I feel down and they take the negative. I often feel a little boost. Sorry, Jewel, I didn't mean to interrupt, honey.
Oh, it's okay. I totally forgot what I was going to say anyway. Okay, so how I'm envisioning it, I guess, is you're sitting and you have a happy thought, and like your heart expands and you feel really good, and you just kind of release it out. I kind of feel like it would be possible for someone who is experienced to take just that much, but if you're not experienced and you keep taking too much, that's when it would cause the problem.
Yeah, so that's why when you work with a vampire that has this issue and is just coming into it and they lack that control, that is why you work with them on a continuous basis. That is why you work with them several times before they get it right. That's why you go to bigger places. Like, for example, when I am beginning to work with somebody that doesn't know how to control energy, they need a higher amount of energy because they can't control it. So I would take them to some place that is very crowded, because if you're someplace very crowded and they're taking a little bit of energy from everybody as they're walking around because they can feel all of that energy, if they take a little bit too much, it doesn't matter because you're taking it from a large crowd of people. So people are less likely to feel it.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. In theory, yes, it does.
And just realize it's all learning too. You don't know, they're learning, the energy vampire, you're learning. We don't have all the answers straight away. Like, you can go to a mall and go, oh, I feel really, really sad. Why do I feel really, really sad? If you're in that moment and you want to question it, that's great, because then you'll realize your energy. But don't feel guilty because you don't recognize an energy. It's all learning.
It's a learning experience. Well, does anybody want readings? Now that we yammered on for probably a long time. Melanie, people are asking about you.
Melanie!
Tell them that I disappeared. I evaporated into the universe as the asshole.
Did you? Right.
I don't know why you think you're an asshole.
No, I just been here listening. It's been great. You guys have just covered all the bases and beautifully just discussed and explained it and broke everything down. So I didn't feel the need to chime in because you guys are doing wonderful.
That's because we're all jabberjaws. Me and Rebecca are over here fighting each other.
Yeah, give me space, man. I want airtime. Come on.
It was really funny. Me and Jules are the air signs, but it's two fire signs acting like air signs.
Yeah. Me and Rebecca just can't shut up ever.
Yes, it's true. I like the sound of my own voice. All right.
Me too. Do you talk to yourself too? Like you're in the mirror and you're like, gosh, I look so beautiful today. Oh, what am I going to do today?
Every day.
Yeah, me too.
Every day. Every day I run off my list in the morning. I talk to myself. I give myself the best advice. It's always good.
Yeah, me too. I was in the store.
I give myself the best advice too. Always.
I was in Target earlier today and my husband didn't go in with me. So he went out to the car to take a nap before he went to work. So I'm in Target and I'm sitting here and I'm talking to myself. I'm like, okay, I got that. Where is this? I can't find this. And I'm sitting there, I'm talking to myself. And then the next thing I know, this lady's looking at me like this. And I'm just like, I'm on the phone. So I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I'm on the phone, Bluetooth. But I'm talking to myself.
Liar. I love the skit. I love it. It's like, who's that chick over in aisle 3? Don't worry about her. She's got it all together.
Yeah, I do stuff like that too. And I'm just like, oh, people probably think I'm nuts. They're probably walking around like, who the hell is he talking to?
I know. I do it in the hardware store and I'm talking to all the drills, especially the pink and purple ones. Oh, look at you, honey. Aren't you good? Oh, I could do. Oh, I like you. And people are looking going, I've seen that too many mushrooms.
I answer myself back too. I figure I want a good response.
I know. Like I said, it's a showpiece, If I go out to a hardware store, it's because I really needed to go there. And if I'm going there, I'm going to dress up. Hello.
I just figure I can talk to myself because I want good conversation.
That's right.
Okay.
Myself.
Does anybody want readings right before we get off of here? Because we've already been on for over an hour. Oh my God. We talked a lot.
Yeah, if you don't worry, we're all good. I'm still laughing. I'm going to have a drink.
My husband says he kicks those type of people off property.
Oh no.
I'm not coming to Texas. I'll get shot.
No, I think you'd be fine here. They'd like your accent.
Yes, they probably would have been like, the Aussies here. Let's get some shrimp on the barbie.
Oh, no, I don't think they would even know you say Barbie over there. They'd probably be like, what? I know my kids are watching the YouTube channel. And the family was from, it was an Australian family. And they said something and they said the Barbie. And my little son, he comes to me and he goes, Mom, they're going to cook on a Barbie. Like a Barbie, he thought it was like a Barbie doll. He goes, how do you cook on one of those? And I said, no, they're talking about a barbecue, like our barbecue pit outside. And he's like, oh. Yeah. Because he's only 5. He had no clue. He's like trying to sit here and you can see his little gears turning in his head. And he's like, how are they going to cook on a Barbie doll?
That is so cute. Did I tell you about what my son did because he wants a fish? Did I show you?
Yeah, you showed me.
Oh my God. He's just adorable. He got bicarb soda, people. He got bicarb soda. He drew a face, stuck the face on the bicarb soda, put a nappy on the bicarb soda, got a container to put it for a cot and a tea towel as a blanket, and promptly told me, I'm going to look after this mum for a week. His name's Carby because I want a fish.
So he's looking after his fish. Did you tell him the fish needs to live in water? He can't carry it around?
Yes, I did, but he just wanted to prove to me that he's responsible, was his exact words. That's
Maybe
adorable.
try a hermit crab. They can live outside the water. Oh my gosh.
Australians are just British Texans.
That is funny.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, and
Good day, mate. That's right.
and good Texas news
Sorry.
today. They passed constitutional carry. So now the governor just needs to sign it, and then you can legally carry firearms without a permit. So
Yes. About time.
give people back power. But anyway, if we're gonna do readings, we should probably do them if anybody wants one.
I'm pretty tired, so I might check out.
Well, we don't have to do them. We could have just been hang out with us time.
Yeah,
I only see one request from Amira.
Let you see what?
One request from Amira.
I don't see it.
no, neither do I.
Oh, Amira Rose.
I don't see Amira Rose.
Amira Rose.
She said, "Sure, me."
I don't even see that one.
Amira Rose.
Okay, I can shuffle cards.
What was the question?
Do you have a specific question, Amira? Maybe just a general then if she doesn't have a question.
All right. No worries. You can leave donations or you can leave some feedback, whatever you like.
Yes. Oh, any changes coming soon for my children and I? Let's see. Melanie, are you pulling cards too?
I already pulled some, so if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. I didn't get the question yet, but I think this might be referring to your question.
Did you hear what the question was?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay.
Yeah, I pulled them before because I saw that she had commented, so I figured I'd be prepared. I think it kind of correlates with her question. I pulled "We're All Mad Here" and it's reverse. This is from my Alice in Wonderland deck. I think that this means that there are some people that might not feel as though you're moving correctly. They're kind of trying to project things onto you to get you to do things the way they would want you to do them. You might feel as though you're not able to keep up. I mean, despite some of the efforts that you've been putting in. But I think that this card, keeping up, is telling you that you can keep up. And then I also pulled "Lead the Way." That kind of goes with the "We're All Mad Here" reverse card. It doesn't matter what other people say. You know what it is you need to be doing, and you're going to have to take the role of leadership, show other people how it's done. You might be in a position where you feel as though you need to help others, but if you feel like you need to kind of withdraw from that in order to take care of what you need to get taken care of, then don't feel bad about that.
Okay, this is the card that I pulled for you, Amira. It is Safe and Happy. This card shows protection from those that are trying to harm you, and not harm in like a physical manner, just harm in keeping you from your ends, from the goal that you're trying to reach. But also it shows travel, movement. I don't think you're moving far. I think it is just forward momentum into achieving your goals and possibly moving out of the living situation that you're in now. Rebecca.
Okay, so I got the Hangman. It's all about perception. Lovely. You got to break the old patterns, eh? You want something to change, then change them. Because it's your perception. If you perceive things to be bad, then they're going to be bad. If you perceive things to be good, they're going to be good. If you want change for you and your children, you really have to advocate for that. You can't sit still because there's a stagnancy going on at the moment and only you can change it. So don't wake up doing the same thing, expecting different results. You really need to work at this, honey. If you want a different result or something to come forward or moving forward in this stagnancy, you have to create it. And you have the power to do this. You're such a beautiful soul. I don't know why you can't see this, but, you know, hence environment and things that happen around you. Just understand that if you want something to change, you really need to do it for yourself and you need to make the change happen. It just won't happen and fall in your lap.
Oh, she says she's trying to move and she is protecting herself, and it was true. And it makes sense. Breaking
Good.
the
Old patterns, breaking old patterns, old cycles, like literally having to change something for the dynamic of literally changing it. Otherwise, this is going to carry on with the children, and you know it.
Melanie, are you pulling cards or no? I guess
Universal
not.
asshole, where are you?
Yeah, I do see a lot of family cycles. You need to break those cycles because it seems like you're repeating what happened when you were younger.
Yep.
Girls, can
And
I
she's
get
got
a
the
card?
ability to do it too.
Okay, I guess we
Sorry.
do have reading requests.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
Scott's next. Scott wanted cards pulled, and then
oh, the asshole. Yeah, right. We'll pull for the asshole.
You want to pull first, Jewel?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, me?
There
Oh,
you
okay.
go.
I'm pulling for you, Scott.
Scotty, beat me up, Scotty. Beat me up.
Oh, look, it says you're coming to work for me on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. This is the card for you, Scott.
Interesting.
It is the elements. This is what you need to focus on. This is very interesting. I'll talk more about this with you when you come over on Saturday if you want. But you need to focus on balancing yourself within the elements in nature. You need to get back to nature. It seems like you have kind of wandered off and kind of left the elementals alone, and it's not good for where you want to be in the future. So if you want to move on a spiritual level, you're going to have to reconnect and build on those connections. Okay, Jewel.
I pulled investigate reverse. So it means that you have not been asking questions where they should be asked. You need these answers in order to move forward. I also pulled do not drink poison. This is reversed, so you know what to do, but you might be testing the waters a little bit still. And then I also pulled impossible things reversed. So it kind of tells me that you might be feeling like there's a certain situation in your life where you feel it is impossible. But you're gonna have to experience it in order to get the lesson for you to move forward.
Yes, Cookie, these are new cards. Rebecca, your turn.
Okay, well, you got the Knight of Cups. You're a peaceful warrior. You're a little bit charming, aren't you?
He thinks he is.
Yeah, he needs some empathy in his life. See, the arsehole always needs empathy. See, Scott, you need some empathy, mate. No, Knight of Cups, it's good. Artistic, harmonious. You have empathy. You're able to understand people in different situations, which is really, really good. But you're really charming. I get this big charm, like, you know, you come across quite charming. Yes.
If by charming you mean across buildings like an ogre, then yeah.
Well, he's charming when he wants to be. Actually, he's
yeah,
quite suave.
He can
The
be.
suave asshole. I like that. But yeah, a little bit more
No, he's
empathy,
got
my
very,
dear Scott.
he's got very good values when it comes to women. He's very chivalrous.
Well, there you go. See, I was right. I know. See, the crown's talking. But yeah, just a little bit more empathy is needed coming up with the situation. That's all. Mel?
Oh, Amira, you're fine. Amira Rose, you're fine. You could ask for clarity. That was totally fine for you to ask. That's why we're here. Melanie, are you awake or are you still sleeping? I hope she wakes up before we want to end this video.
This is a lie that
No,
never
that's fine,
ends.
Amira. No, darling, it's all good. That's what we're here for.
Just because
Thank
Melanie
you,
fell asleep. You can be, Scott. I've seen it. Okay, now Cookie wants a card.
Ah, Cookie. Good old Cookie. Hello, Cookie. I love Cookie.
Boop, 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 doo, doo. Melanie better wake up before we decide to
Melanie! I'm sending a bubble.
Somebody better text her or something.
Yeah, and I wake her up. I'm Henry VIII. I am. Sorry.
Okay, Cookie, these cards are for you. Jill, are you gonna pull first, or you want me to?
Cookie. Put 3 of 1, 1, 2.
No.
I didn't hear what you said. Do you want me to pull first, or are you going to?
I pulled some cards.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to decipher them here. I pulled you. Let's see here. A moment's regret, and you can't go back to yesterday. So I kind of feel like there's still something there that you're having. Am I still cutting out? Someone said in the comments I was cutting out.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Moments
send her
regret,
another one.
nostalgia, idealizing the past, fearing you've made a mistake. I think that is. I don't think that it's always with you, but it does come up with you occasionally, and it's still somewhat difficult. And you were talking earlier about, it does come back up so that you can address it and find deep for truth. Remember, go back to yesterday. You do have to move forward. There isn't any reason to fear. Remember how far you've come and what it is that you're capable of, so that you can move forward, not in that fear, but in hope that that change is coming. Change is always coming. So look forward. Be in the present moment. Really, not necessarily look forward. You should look forward, but be in that present moment. And know that there was, that, even if you did make a mistake, you learn from it. I don't feel as though it is a mistake. Yeah, that one, the energy is a little intense, so I'm kind of trying to put it into words. But it helped.
Okay. Cookie, this card is for you. This is the Goddess card, and its focus is feminine healing. I don't know if you've had something traumatic happen in your life, but it seems you need to focus on healing yourselves. This episode was on shadow work, so usually healing, especially when it's self-healing, in this particular case it focuses on healing yourself via shadow work and stuff along that lines. So you need to spend some time with yourself, focusing on yourself and really getting to know yourself and exploring the things that you're uncertain of. Okay, Rebecca.
I got Queen of Pentacles and it says ambition. What I'm getting from this is that you actually have done some of the work. and you're ambitious to finish it. So for me, this is a good card for you. It says that you are coming towards a peaceful time. You're coming towards recognizing what's happened, what's gone on, the emotions that are going through it, and you're validating that it was okay. And so you're coming through this transition now where the work that you're doing in the shadow work, like Jules said, you've got a little bit more to go, but not as much as I think when it comes to this specific issue. And it's going to make you want to be in the home again. It's going to make you want to be the nurturer again. It's going to make you want to be so much more into family again. So this is a really good card for you, Cookie, because I see that you have been doing some of the work. And
Oh
so
no, I can't hear anybody.
you should be really proud of yourself that you have been doing this work.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. We can hear you.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I can't hear anybody.
Cookie, you have done really well, darling, and I expect things to be speeding up just a little bit in the healing. All right, because I got to say, I'm getting a really proud feeling off you. Like you really have been looking at this and trying to deal with it. So I'm really proud of you at this moment, Cookie. I'm shining with pride, like you're my child or something. Isn't that weird? But yeah,
That's
so
beautiful.
yeah, so
I love it.
she's really going, yeah. So I'm really, really proud. Keep going, Cookie, because it looks like, there's clarity coming for you, darling. Queen of Pentacles. It's really a good card. Keep going. Mwah, much love to you.
All right. Well, oh, Sarah, we can hear you,
Can you hear
Sarah.
us, Sarah?
Sarah, can you hear us? Oh no, I'm sure she'll pop back in. Well, before we went live, I took out my astrological dice and had them here, and I went ahead and I rolled, and what I rolled is I rolled the symbol for Scorpio, the Sun, and 4. 4 is the number for fourth house, for the fourth house home, and the Sun, Sun is usually like, that's your soul, that's a primary focus, things gets filtered through, through your sun sign, through your soul. And then Scorpio is a sign for transformation. It's a sign for energy. It is also another sign that deals with healing as well. It's a healing of the soul, healing of the psyche.
Yep.
So, and then when you said home, I was like, ooh, that's interesting, because I pulled the 4 for home and the Sun. So it's just basically, it's like I'm taking the focus of the Sun, your soul, and through transformation and getting it grounded in back into that comfort of home within yourself.
That's right. Yeah, it's all going to be not so foreign anymore for her. It's become foreign because something's happened, the traumatic events happened, but she's sorting through all that now, and it's going to become home again, not a place where she doesn't want to go now, a place where she wants to go. And that's what I am so looking forward to, because that's what Cookie's been wanting to get to. And I just see it. And now that you've confirmed that, Mel, that's really, really good, because it just backs up what I've been trying to say to Cookie all this time, is that if you do the work, it does happen, darling, and you are doing the work. So yeah, so proud.
Wait, now Sarah's saying she's going to come back in.
Yeah, I'm not sure where she's at.
Oh, here she is. Oh, there
yes,
she is. Here she comes.
Welcome.
Well, that was the weirdest thing ever. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I couldn't hear anything any of you all were saying.
We can hear you.
I thought we could, but I'm like, I can't hear any of you. It's like radio silence.
The universe just said, no, just cut her off just for that moment.
I don't know.
Is there any more that would like a reading? I think Andrea said she wants one.
Yeah, Andrea did. That's who I wrote her down on my list. Andrea wanted a reading. She wanted a card.
All right, cool. I know, Annette, I've been waiting all to hear her voice too. I love Mel's voice. I want it on a loop so I can go to sleep.
I couldn't hear anybody, Cookie. I could see their lips moving, but I didn't know what they said. Andrea wants one, and Matt wants one.
Yeah, no worries.
Who's pulling first for Andrea?
Whoever gets there first. Yay!
There you go.
Do you want to pull first, or do you want me to do?
Oh, I had to run away from my little where my cards are at for a second, so
No worries, I'll do it.
I'm gonna shuffle right now, but you've already, so I'll go later.
Yes.
I'm ready to whenever. Go, baby.
Ooh, everything's reversed, so I have to put it over there. Andrea, this is the card I pulled for you. Ooh, I don't have it in there, are they? There we go. This is prosperity. Ooh, this shows better progress at work, better progress than you have now. It's prosperity card, but I don't think it's a whole lot of monetary. I think it's more being more satisfied with your job and your work environment. So I think the conflicts that you are having at work are going to kind of resolve themselves a little bit. So it's going to be a more pleasant space for you to work at. I don't know if you're having problems at work currently, but if you are, I think this card is going to resolve them. And if you're working someplace and you're not really happy with that job, it might mean getting a different job where you're a little happier. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of monetary gain, though. I think it's going to be more self gain than monetary. And okay, Rebecca, whoever's next.
I've got the 7 of Pentacles, which says progress. Let me clear my throat. This is for Andrea. Congratulations, Andrea. You moved up in the world. Not only did you move up in the world when it comes to work, but you've moved up in the world when it comes to your gifts. Things are about to heat up for you. Your progress is going to go chung, 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 like a ninja. It's just going to go, you know, that sort of stuff. So the progress that you're going to have, 7 of Pentacles, I see a little bit of money, but I do see more of the progress happening with your gifts. So I'm excited for you. Go, Jill.
Go. I pulled Never Jam today, and this is in the past position. So this is based off of, you know, a feeling that promises weren't really coming to be in your reality, basically. Empty words, not being able to live in the now, but that's in the past. That's, you know, in the past. We leave that in the past. And then I pulled, I wonder what will happen next, but it's reversed. So you know what's going to happen next. You're ready for it. Yeah, I mean, you're ready for an adventure. Yep. And then the right way, through this process, you're going to learn how to better create what it is that you desire. So, I mean, once you get that, once that all starts happening for you, it's just going to keep rolling because, you know, yeah, I mean, you're just going to be able to build on top of that. You've done the work to create the foundations, and now it's time to just build it up high, build it up well.
Pom-poms. Woo! Go, Andrea! Hey! Yeah! Woo! Hey! Sorry.
All right. I rolled the dice and I got the symbol for Virgo and Neptune and number 4. And 4 again is home, and it is the original placement for Cancer. And I got Virgo and Neptune. Now Neptune is the planet for not only just for spirituality and the spirit realm, but it's also about talents, gifts like painting, drawing, sculpting, you know, just those artistic expression. And Virgo, you know, and Virgo is of your everyday. It's that 6th house energy. And then Virgo is the other side of the next Scorpio that's with healing. But in this case, it's talking about bringing things into the everyday, bringing all that in, like of the creativity and your creative endeavors and your artistic expression. You know, bringing that in, and you know, and 4th house is also, you know, placement for like comforts, and it's that private world that you share within yourself or with those that within your private setting. But it's telling you to, you know, tap more into that Neptune. And Neptune's also, you know, hidden bed pleasures, and it also is hidden talents as well. Maybe you got some hidden talents in your bed pleasure.
It's interesting that you said Virgo because I actually pulled a card that had to do with animals. So I don't know what that has
Yep,
to do
that
with
too.
your
Virgo
your
rules over small
creative.
animals.
Yep. I don't know what that has to do with the
Photographing
creative process
animals.
as well, but yeah, keep that in mind. Yep. Pictures
Taking
of animals.
photographs of animals.
Yeah.
Taking photographs of animals.
Yeah,
Animals.
photographing animals, and Andrew loves animals, so it's perfect.
And there's a carnival, she said, coming up. So yes, it's bloody perfect.
Woo, woo.
Oh, yay! Is Matt next?
Yes, Matt is next. I'm shuffling right now.
Me too.
Welcome
Hey,
back,
Matt.
Mary.
Welcome back.
Okay.
Just a general, Matt.
This is interesting. This is the card I pulled for you, Matt.
He typed that at the same time I said it. Oh my God.
This card is Dragonfly. And it basically tells you to sing your message, bring light to the world, help those you're able to help. Focus on helping others rather than yourself at this particular time. Your job at this time is to help others see the light, to help others get to the spaces that they need to be rather than focusing on you. Which that was an interesting card, actually.
I have interesting ones too, and I'm trying to figure out how to decipher them. I pulled Curiouser and Curiouser, so I feel like there's a lot of knowledge coming in, and it sometimes feels a little strange with the whole, you're discovering things, you're inquiring about things, super curious about things, but at the same time, you know a lot too. Kind of like there's a need to like keep up, but there really isn't. You're where you need to be. And then I pulled keep your temper, but that's not necessarily like, oh my gosh, you're so angry. You have to like figure out how to like cool the temper type situation. I think it's just more to do with the whole passion thing, being able to balance that fire, that passion, to bring yourself into a state of equilibrium. Um, and I would agree with Sarah with the whole helping people. I think helping people would help you do that, to help you balance yourself where you need to, where you need those balances.
Ready?
Yep.
9 of Cups. Satisfaction. Right. Good old Maddie. Dreams do come true, don't they? And yours are about to. You've got some really interesting things coming up. There's 2 things coming up in about a fortnight's time. And it's going to be a huge epiphany to you because it's actually going to put you're going to realize something, and it's going to put you on the path to helping someone. And that when you help that someone, it's going to be genuine and it's just going to bloom and prosper. It's actually, you're going to get so much more satisfaction and love out of it than you thought you were going to. I agree with Jewel and Sarah about you helping more people. It just seems at this moment in your life, especially for the next 3 months, you're going to have this beautiful abundance of love and light. It might sound a bit generic,
Okay.
but it's not. Yeah, it's not. You are literally coming into this time. I would have to say with Jewel, what she means is it's tempering that fire, is that you get this, like a little kid when he gets a little bit too excited. He gets that overexcitement. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was just telling Matt that the other day.
He
Kid in candy shop.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have to just slow it down, be excited, but don't get overexcited, because that's where sometimes the words don't come out properly. So just slow it down just a tad, Matt, because I love your enthusiasm and I love the excitement, and it'll come out more articulated, because you are definitely getting some huge downloads at the moment. So well done, mate.
All right. Am I next?
Yep.
All right. I rolled the dice and I got Saturn, and I got Taurus, and I got 6. And 6 is is the house. It's original. It's Virgo. God, Virgo just keeps popping up. And Saturn. And I was just thinking Saturn, whenever Saturn is in a sixth house or in an aspect of the sixth house, the person will be able to defeat their enemies. And it's a house that is that gets protected by Saturn. And then there's Taurus. So we are in Taurus season, and Taurus is the bull, and it is ruled by Venus, and it is about beauty and value and things that are of value, and of course your personal values, your morals, communication as well as tied into that. And Saturn knows about that hard work and that unity together, and doing just coming to the call. And so every day with bringing it in, and grounding it into, which could be part of helping people, because helping people is also a way of healing too. It can be very healing for somebody to get assistance from somebody, because it all ties in together. And with that Taurus, it's just bringing that beauty in with those morals and values, and things that are of very much importance, and working it out through that Saturn. So it's just basically get your ass to work. Get your ass to work, and keep working hard and keep doing what you're doing, because it's definitely it's wonderful, and there are things here that are waiting for you to get into when you're ready, and it's going to be very, very beneficial to you, and as well for those that you assist. And the Taurus, one of the first things that I picked up is you're going to be working with a lot of women. That's what I got.
Does not surprise me at all.
We lost Bonnie.
Okay, we have been live for almost 2 hours. You guys ready to call it a night?
Yep, we lost Rebecca, but yes, I am.
Okay.
Oh, there she is. I found her.
I'm here. I'm backstage.
She's not from outer space, but from backstage.
But we are going to call it a night and see you guys later.
Yes,
It was
thank you,
fun
everybody.
hanging out with you
Can I
all.
please ask you all something? Whoever was on the live tonight that got a reading, if you cannot leave a donation, please go on our pages and leave us some feedback or some reviews, because it would really mean a lot to us, because it helps us with our business. I'd really appreciate it.
Please leave reviews.
Oh.
We love reviews.
Yes, and the YouTube channel. Go YouTube channel and like and subscribe.
Yes,
guys.
please. Thank you,
It would help
everybody.
us so much. We love you all.
Yeah, thanks
Bye.
everybody. Good night.
Have a great night, guys.